Hi, my name is Nyaradzo Chauruva of My Money Project, and today I want to talk about breaking the debt cycle. As you may remember from the beginning of the year, we are moving with financial freedom, how to attain financial freedom. We have gone through the definition of what financial freedom is, financial independence, the difference. We looked at the mindset of financial freedom, and now we want to look at the debt cycle, breaking the debt cycle. There is a scripture in the Bible from Proverbs chapter 22, verse 7, which says, "The borrower is slave to the lender." And right there, it introduces the power dynamics that debt creates. So, what it means is the borrower has more power over the lender. And so we want to break that because debt is burdensome, to say the least. It is burdensome, it causes emotional and financial stress. And you can imagine the ailments that come with emotional stress. So I want to just help us on how, or two ways rather, two out of several, of course, two ways of which we can pay off debt. And I will speak to the debt snowball method as well as the debt avalanche method. So, to start with, the debt snowball method is mainly useful to those people who are motivated by their actions. You're motivated by just making sure that a single debt is paid off. And this also works when you have multiple or a number of debts. So I can imagine you have, say, three types of debts, and one is probably a medical bill that has been outstanding, and let's say it's $500. And you also have another one, which is a personal loan, maybe a personal loan of, say, $2,000. And let's say you've also borrowed to buy a vehicle, so you have a vehicle loan of $10,000. So when we talk the debt snowball method, basically we are saying pay off the minimum payment on each of the debts. So you could, if it is, say, 10%, so it means the minimum payment will be the 10%. So you pay off all the other debts, the minimum. But the smallest debt, you pay it up in full. So which means the $500 medical bill, you pay it all in full. And then you will pay, say, $200 for the $2,000 debt, and you pay $100, or is it 1,000 for the $10,000 debt. So these are just examples. And what that does is, when you pay off the $500, that amount which you would have paid for that, you now channel it to the next smallest debt. So that way it creates a snowball effect, and that is why it's called the debt snowball method. We move on to the debt avalanche method. Now, this one will work especially if you are motivated by numbers. So, what do I mean by that? Any debt that you incur normally carries interest. So, some are high interest, some are low interest debts. So, what you would do is to pay off the high interest debt first. So, say for example, the medical bill has no interest. Let's just say it has no interest. And then your personal loan would have 18% interest. And then the vehicle loan has 10% interest. So, what that means is you pay off the 18% one, which is your personal loan. Why? Because it is your most expensive debt. So, in a nutshell, with the debt avalanche, you are paying off your most expensive debt first. So, these are the two ways in which you can use. But as I said, we are just focusing on those two. Of course, there are several others. People can talk of the consolidation method and etc. etc. And it is now up to you, how you are, your makeup. How do you react? Can I say, how do you respond to debt? Are you one who's motivated by paying off the smallest debt first, or are you the one who's motivated when you pay the high interest debt first? Ideas or that I would want to recommend, and the first one being, make use of the 50-30-20 rule. The 50-30-20 rule is basically a way of budgeting where we are saying 50% of your money, no matter how much it is, should be channeled towards your needs. 30% goes towards your wants, and 20% goes towards your savings or your debt repayment. But let me also help to define a need. A need is what you cannot do without. And we are looking at probably your accommodation, we are looking at transport, we're looking at probably groceries for your household. When we talk of wants, these are things that we can do without. They are good to have, but we can really do without. Things like maybe entertainment, we talk of television, And then when we look at the 20%, which is for savings, in investments or debt payment. But when you are in debt, I normally switch these to say 50% for your needs, 30% now goes towards debt repayment because you want to fast track debt repayment, your savings, your charitable giving, and then 20% goes towards your wants. Secondly, I would also want to encourage you to have an emergency fund. And an emergency fund, these are funds that you set aside just in case emergencies come. Because for whatever reason, emergencies do come. And normally they come when you are least prepared. So set aside an emergency fund, which will be 3 to 6 times your living expenses. Take note, I'm not saying your salary, but I'm saying your living expenses. And lastly, I would encourage you to build, to earn more income, and preferably passive income. Because as a person, when you talk passive and active income is when you are fully engaged, you have to work for that money. But passive income is money that will come even when you are sleeping. So for example, your rental, your dividends, as they are just being paid as you sleep. And I hope this helps. Let's meet in the next video.